Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Yuletide carols being sung by a choir. And folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows. Okay, I'm not gonna sing the whole thing because last time I tried to do a singing intro, my microphone did not like that. Okay, I was singing Mariah Carey. Okay, the range was intense, but it couldn't handle it. It's not a singing mic. I don't know how to mix and master it. And so I'm not going to do too much singing at the top of the episode. But anyways, welcome back. Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Insufferable with me, your insufferable host, Lindsay Howe, episode 27. That's nearly 30. So that's a thing. We've almost done 30 episodes. And thank you so much for tuning back in to see what the fuck we're talking about today. I do appreciate having you here. I do want to say thank you. And yeah, how is everybody's week going? How are we? If you're watching on YouTube, which you should be, you can see that I got a new blanket and it was on clearance. And that's kind of all I could wish for. Okay? I've been trying to get a new blanket for the couch for quite some time now. Okay? I don't really have any blankets that are big enough for me to like get on the couch and get cozy. Okay? And it is cozy season. I'm telling you, the weather today is perfection. Okay? So I manifested this blanket. Let's be real. It was on clearance and it is my favorite color, which is a mustard yellow. So check another thing off the list of manifestations over here on Lindsay's list. Um, but yeah, it's cozy season. I hope you guys are doing well. I had a whimsical, rainy Disney day last week, and it was low-key cute as hell. It was like quite literally raining the whole day, but we were like, we're not gonna cancel our reservation, like we're still gonna go, me and Sierra and I. Um And it was really cute. I mean, we got raincoats to prepare, but you know what? I don't know why I got a raincoat that didn't have a hood on it. Girl, what the hell was I thinking? I just really wanted a coat that I would be able to wear a hoodie underneath because I was like, is it going to be cold? Because if we're wet and it's cold, that's going to be a whole thing. So I thought if I wore the coat, like the raincoat on the outside and a hoodie underneath that, then that would be the best of both worlds. I was wrong because here's the thing is the raincoat that I got was just water resistant, right? It wasn't an actual raincoat. I almost got a good ass raincoat, but it was not in the stars for me. They did not have my size or the color that I wanted. And the price was not right. Okay. Cause we're working on a $0 budget over here. And I am really, when I have to buy an item, whether it be toilet paper or a raincoat, we are cutting the budget for hot water, gas, electricity over here. So the budget is 0. Okay. So I found a coat that was, within the $0 budget. Um and I didn't steal it. That's not what I meant. Just saying that. The one that I really wanted was $100. I will not be purchasing a coat for $100, not in the state that I am currently living in. Absolutely not. I'm looking for a maximum cost of $25 for a coat that's going to keep me dry in the rain. You know what I mean? And that's asking a lot. I can't expect there to be a coat that's waterproof that's going to cost me $25 or less. But I found one. It was not waterproof, it was water resistant, and it did not have a hood on it, and I kind of didn't really think about that because I said, "I'm gonna wear a hat anyway, and I know we're gonna be wet the whole day, and I'm just gonna mentally prepare for that." Okay, so I wore my Carhartt pants, okay, because 'cause they're double lined, and I said, "Hey, if these canvas pants get wet, at least they're double lined, it's probably gonna take a long time to actually soak through both layers." Okay, so I did think ahead of time. But what I didn't think of was the fact that I wore a trucker hat. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with trucker hats, but they're mesh in the back. And mesh, not really suitable for keeping whatever's underneath it dry. So my whole head was wet the whole day. And the squishy front of the hat is usually like a foam in the front and then the mesh in the back. I mean, you guys know what a fucking trucker hat looks like. My shit was wet as hell. The whole brim of the hat was dripping water. It was absolutely soaked. The whole foam in the front was soaked, and the back of my head was wet because it was mesh. So, yeah, I simply did not think it through. So, yeah, my hair was wet the whole time. I was low-key getting a brain freeze the whole day because it was cold and my hat was wet. So, that's how that went, and then I didn't have a hood for with my water resistant coat, so the hood of my hoodie was exposed on my shoulders the whole day, so it got soaked. I have learned that I know what to wear now if I'm gonna go out to Disney in a completely I know how to make myself waterproof now. Okay, I learned the hard way. It still was a very fun day. And if you're a Disney goer, you probably know by now that Big Thunder Mountain is open again. Once again, it's been closed for a long ass time, at least a year. At least a year or almost a year. I don't really know. Because the last time I went to Disney, like the latest I went in March of this year and it was closed. And I don't know how soon before that it closed. But it's been closed basically this whole year. So now it's back open, and I hadn't been on it since, for a long ass time, years and years and years and years and years. 15, 20 years I feel it's been since I've gone on Big Thunder Mountain. And it's back, it's running, and that's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful to have one of your favorite rides comes back, you know? So there's that, and that's really cool. Yeah, and heads up for you Disney goers, Big Thunder Mountain is back. It's back, it's running, and it's fun. And apparently they changed some stuff, but nothing I could really put my finger on. I haven't been on it in a long time. I have, like, cat hair on my nose, so pardon me if I keep itching my face. Nothing new over here, nothing new. So yeah, fun Disney rainy Disney day. It was really, really fun, and I definitely learned my lesson on how to stay dry out in the cold. So, yeah, speaking of cold, it is cold here now in California. Okay, last night it was 51 degrees. That's pretty low for us. Okay, and you do not need to go in the comments and say something like, "That's not even cold. Where I live, it's below zero." Girl, I know that below zero is colder than 51. You don't gotta tell me, girl. You don't gotta tell me, okay? What I'm telling you is this is California, okay? So we don't really experience extreme weather like that. And so when it gets to 51, you over here thinking, what do I even have to wear? You know what I mean? We have a fuzzy sock here and there, but do we have insulated shit like you guys be wearing when you be living in those super cold areas? No, we ain't got that. We got hoodies, we got fleece. Okay, you're lucky if you get, like, fleece-lined leggings or something. That's about as good as we got as far as, you know, uh, accommodations in the fashion sector, in the regular clothes that we regularly have, okay? So, yeah, it's cold now. It's 51. It's probably, like, 63 outside right now. Um, but I just took my dog out for a walk and it's chilly. It's chilly, girl. And the sky is blue and there are big, fluffy white clouds. Yes, sir. Lay down. I know this is your spot, but we're filming right now. You could see that. You could see the whole setup. That means I'm gonna be here for another hour. So you're gonna have to lay where you're gonna lay. This is his spot on the couch. And he don't like when I film right here. Because I'm literally laying in his exact spot. Right behind me right here is where he lays. So he don't want to lay just to the right there. He's looking at me like, girl, what the hell are you doing? But little does he know we're gonna be here for another hour. So go ahead and lay down. Or do whatever you're gonna do. Be awkward. That's cool too. My dog of 5 years is being awkward right now. Anyway, on the docket today, and I'm actually really excited to talk about this because I am quite literally bursting at the seams to talk about it. Okay? The Frankenstein of it all. Okay? I watched Frankenstein. Luckily, I was able to get a Netflix login. Okay? I canceled my Netflix account because of the situation I'm currently in. We can't be having Netflix around here, okay? No luxuries allowed. So I canceled my Netflix and I was thinking, what's even on Netflix, girl? You don't need no Netflix. They ain't even got all the staple shows that you want to play in the background. They don't have It's Always Sunny and they don't have The Office. So what do we even care about Netflix anymore? Let's go ahead and cancel it. And literally a week later, Frankenstein comes out. A Netflix movie. Okay. I thought I could see that in the theaters. No, didn't see it in the theaters. It's a Netflix movie. And so I felt betrayed in that way. I felt betrayed by Spirit. She said, "Go ahead. Go ahead and cancel your account. There's nothing on there for you." And then fucking Frankenstein came out. So luckily I was able to get a login. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. And I was able to watch it, okay? Now, since I watched it, my algorithm has been completely overflowing with behind the scenes stuff about the costumes, interviews with Jacob Elordi, interviews with Mia Goth, interviews with Guillermo del Toro. Everybody's talking about the depth of the story, what they did with the story to change it from its original book. I think it came from a book, the story, and what they changed, what they added in, what they took out, how they, adapted it for the screen. Guillermo del Toro, he's obviously a fucking legend, and he loves a good monster story. I mean, we've seen his movies before. He loves a good monster. Okay, that's kind of his thing. Not only have I seen all of these videos of all the actors and, cast and crew and everybody kind of like breaking down the whole thing. I've also been inundated with film analysis creators breaking down the full analyses of the storyline. Okay. And up until this point, okay, I watched it a couple of days ago. I probably watched it on like Saturday or something. Saturday or Sunday, maybe. And it's Wednesday now, so it has been a couple of days since I watched it, and I've been, like, listening to everyone else's takes on it. I watched, Brittany Broski's episode where she talks about it. She's very emotional, she gets very connected, and she's very appreciative of art. You should be so lucky if you ever get a review of something you created from Brittany Broski. I mean, she's really good at just appreciating the foundations and like the stuff that you want to be seen for in your art. She's going to see you for it. You know what I mean? So I've seen a lot of people's takes, I've seen a lot of analysis, and I've just seen a lot of stuff. And nobody is talking about what I have interpreted in the movie. And I'm really good at interpretation, okay? That's why I like art. I know that you made this piece of art to invoke XYZ, but I'm seeing A, B, and C. X, Y, and Z is like way down the way. And X, Y, and Z, you're basically spelling it out for the consumer. A, B, and C, I feel like, I don't know, like, I feel like you have to get deeper into it to understand A, B, and C. And you know what? I probably should have switched those 2 never mind, never mind. I'm not even gonna, entertain, um, what I'm saying here because I don't wanna get too deep about A, B, and C, and X, Y, and Z. Okay? So I'm just gonna move on. So, anyway, you're gonna wanna strap in for this because I have I have seen this film as an X-ray of society right now, okay? I feel that this movie is the origin story of the male loneliness epidemic, okay? And I'm gonna tell you why, okay? And I'm telling you, strap in because you're not gonna be able to unsee this. After I tell you my thoughts on the characters and how they all, contribute to the overarching epidemic of male loneliness or maybe just loneliness in general, you're not gonna be able to unsee it, okay? So let's get started here. There's a specific line in which it fully clicked for me that what I was interpreting was what it was, okay? And just to be clear, I'm not saying no one else has had this take. I haven't watched every analysis of this movie. I'm just saying my algorithm's been flooded with it, and ain't nobody talking about this, about the male loneliness of it all. They're talking about like curiosity and how he's just like so curious and innocent and da 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 and Elizabeth is so, kind to him and shows him kindness and everything. That's surface level shit, dude. Yes, that's actually, you're correct. I mean, you're on the nose. You're on the nose. But in my personal opinion, there's a point in the movie. And if you haven't seen the movie, this is not going to make any sense to you, and you should probably just skip this episode. Or just pause it now, go watch the movie, come back. Okay? I'm just saying. There's spoilers. And this story was written like a million years ago, so I'm not gonna say it's a spoiler. Anyway. Um, there's a line in the movie, and it's where the monster, which we know, just to clarify, Victor Frankenstein is the doctor or fucking psychotic asshole that made the monster, okay? The monster's name is not Frankenstein. So we're just gonna refer to him as the monster in this. I low-key forget if we ever came up with a name for him in the movie or if they came up with a name, but we're gonna call him the monster. Anyway, the monster finally makes his way back to Victor Frankenstein because he's got mad beef with him. Okay, the monster is beefing with Victor. Why? Because he created him, he abused him, and then he abandoned him and tried to kill him and absolve all of his responsibility from creating life. You can't create life and then abandon it and try to kill it because you don't want the responsibility. Okay, we'll fucking get into that. Okay, so he finds his way back to Victor. Lo and behold, it's the wedding. It's the wedding of Victor's brother and Elizabeth, the very nice lady. So the whole family's there. Everybody's looking, tea. The outfits are tea. Everybody's looking good because it's a fucking rich ass wedding or whatever. That doesn't even matter. I don't know why I even mentioned that. It's because I like outfits. He is beefing with Victor. He comes in and they see each other. I don't know how long it's been. Probably years, or I don't even know how long it's been since they've seen each other. He low-key thought the monster was dead because he fucking blew him up in the damn house or the castle or whatever the fuck. He tried to kill him. So he don't even know that he's alive. So anyway, he comes up on him in the bedroom or whatever, and he's pissed. And he's like, hey, by the way, I can't die. Oh yeah, by the way, you created me to where I can't even fucking die. You didn't even give me the grace of programming something in me with your little science stuff that you're always over here doing and being weird about. Everybody's shooting me, stabbing me, trying to cut off my limbs and shit. I can't die. Okay, you try to blow me up and a fiery flame fucking destroyed a whole fucking 6-story castle and I didn't die. And that's fucked up. And now I'm kind of thinking, hey, I have feelings. Uh, I have emotions. I don't know how to process them because you are a fucking asshole, by the way, father. Okay, we'll get into it. And I now know that I can't die, so I need you to make a monster for me to live with forever. If I'm gonna have to fucking live forever and nobody can kill me, then I need a companion. And that's on period. Okay? That's the least you could do for me. And Victor, being the fucking psychotic asshole that he is like, I'm not making another fucking monster. Because he's still under the impression that this monster is actually a bad creature. That's what they call him. They call him the creature. I don't know how better that is than monster, if we're trying to soften the blow and like be nice to him and call him something nice. But he thinks that the creature is bad. Why? Because he is ignorant, and we'll get to that. Okay? So he doesn't want to create another fucking monster. When it's crazy because if you create another monster and just give it over to the creature slash monster, he's going to be able to um curate a nice person who knows like he's already learned how to kind of cope with his feelings because of this nice old man he met in the woods, low key. Okay? So he probably could get a companion and they probably could be a little power couple type vibe. You know what I mean? So Victor says no, obviously, and that pisses off the creature. Okay? He does not like that. Okay, and not only does Victor say no, he's mean about it. He says, "You're disgusting. You think I want to make another one of you? No, I tried to kill you, by the way. Get the fuck out of my house. My brother's getting married today. You're such a fucking lame loser." Low key, he says that. It's not really dialogue, but that's how I got it. Okay, it's my interpretation of the dialogue. And that pisses off the creature, and he starts beating the shit out of him, as he should. Okay, he's tossing him around the room, he's throwing him around, as he should. That's the natural reaction that you are going to get when you upset somebody in that way. And he don't know how to process his emotions because he was never taught. Okay, so all this to say, in this scene where he is raging on Victor, before he begins raging, or in the middle of, he says something to the effect of, and I meant to pull it up to get the exact quote, but I didn't get the exact quote, so forgive me if this is not exactly what he said, but it is basically what he says to Victor. He says, "What you deprive me of in love, I will indulge in rage." And whether that is the exact quote or not, that's the only thing you need to hear in this movie to prove that it is directly linked to the male loneliness epidemic or just the issue with men in general. Okay? They do not experience love the way that women do. They're not allotted the grace and the love that they need as young beings but at the time that they are born, they are not given the love that they need. And whose fault is that? Usually their fathers, another man in their life. Their father, their grandfather, their guy friends, all of the men in their life, the men, deprive them of love and connection. And women don't do that to each other. Okay? Women friendships are Um, absolutely priceless. We can't live without them. It's a very important, um, product of becoming a loving person, eh, having relationships that are good for you in that way, and women have those. It just comes naturally to us. You know, some women, that's why it's like, if you're not a girl's girl, then you're depriving yourself of love. You need to be a girl's girl. Okay. These men need to figure it out on their own. Now, they are the ones who screwed up society, and we're just reacting to that. We're just reacting to that. Now, let me get a little more into it. Okay. Who's a bad man in the film? Victor Frankenstein. We know that in this story, he is the monster. He is the true monster, okay? That line was hand fed to the audience in the movie. We didn't need it, okay? Some of us can interpret those things, but it does seem as though big Hollywood is assuming that you're on your phone the whole time you're watching a movie. So they really be spoon feeding you these key points of the movie via the dialogue, which they shouldn't have to do. And they didn't used to do that back in the day. That's what pissed me off about the Barbie movie. Side rant here. I did not like the Barbie movie. I am sorry. I'm I'm sorry. Everything was spoon fed to the audience via dialogue. You know why? Because the storyline could have been totally interpreted perfectly fine with subtle clues by women. But the directors and the writers, they needed the message to be um received by men. And they don't interpret anything. They're not that smart, it seems. I'm talking about the average man. Not so smart. Okay, so when in the fucking Barbie movie, this fucking Barbie bitch says everything that is obvious through her dialogue. She at one point she's like, "It kind of seems as though this world I'm treated bad and the other world I'm treated well." Girl, what the fuck? You did not even have to say that. That's what the whole plot is. You didn't have to fucking say it word for word. You just fucking said an AI overview of the entire movie just now. Shit pissed me off. It fucking pissed me off. You could have made a fucking beautiful movie and told the story in a way that made people think about it. Instead, you made the fucking story and fucking spoon fed it to these men. It was a hot soup. Okay, a very hot, hard to take story, you know? Sometimes, stuff is hard to interpret, and it's also, you know, a big pill to swallow type shit. But what did we do? We took the hot soup, we got a spoonful of it, and we blew on it to cool it off, and then we spoon-fed it to the audience. That shit fucking pissed me off. I'm so sorry I did not like the Barbie movie for that exact reason. And if you disagree with that, that's fine, that's your prerogative, but hey, as my personal opinion, I do not like being spoon-fed, um, key points of the story. Let me figure it out, okay? There's a big, huge it's like a iceberg. You only really have to show us the tip of the iceberg in film. If you are a film goer and you care about storytelling, you're going to dive under the surface and see the rest of and interpret for yourself the rest of the fucking iceberg underneath the goddamn surface. I don't need to see the whole fucking iceberg. And I don't need the main character to tell me that there is more iceberg under the water. Don't fucking piss me off. Don't piss me off with that shit, dude. Because, ugh, I hate it. I hate it. It pisses me off. Let me fucking interpret something for once. Okay? God damn. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Where was I actually? I'm not good at tangents because I can't really get back to the point that I was at before. Um, Who's an asshole in the movie? Victor Frankenstein, okay? He is the monster. That's where I got off of my tangent, because we didn't have to know he was the fucking monster. You didn't have to say that. Anyway, he is the fucking monster in the movie. Who made him an asshole? I'm gonna let you guess. That's correct. His father. And who made him an asshole? We actually didn't see that on film, and it wasn't explicitly told to us in via dialogue, but I'm pretty sure his father made him an asshole. Okay? Your dads are making you assholes, and that is why you grow up and then the women don't want anything to do with you, because you were raised by a man who had unhealthy emotional regulation, had no idea. And they think that physical dominance over their subjects, for a lack of a better word, their subordinates, their offspring, their children, whoever they are responsible for, they choose the physical dominance route, okay? They're gonna fucking whip you until you get shit right, okay? That has never worked for anyone ever. It's probably worked for what do they call them when they get you all messed up in your mind, so you work for the CIA and they say like 7 words and that puts you into a frenzy where you go crazy or whatever. That's kind of that's how that tactic works, I think. Excuse me. That tactic is not going to work on your young son. Okay? If you're a father right now, you have a young son, okay? He's 3 years old, 5 years old or whatever. Beating the shit out of him to ensure that he retains information about a biology lesson you're teaching him or whatever the fuck, you are wrong. That is not going to work, and your son is going to grow up lonely as fuck, and it's going to be your fault. Okay. Moms be fucking people up too. Okay. Moms have their own, drama. They got their own way of fucking up their children. Okay. I'm not saying that they ain't fucking up their children either. I'm saying that in the context of this story and the way I interpreted Frankenstein, this is the fucking issue. Okay. Victor Frankenstein is the monster in the story. And he had every opportunity to nurture this creature that he's responsible for making, by the way. And he was given ample resources to do so. And someone low-key nurtured him and supported him financially to even get to this point, because they believed that he could do this impossible thing that he said he could do. Okay? That nurturer had their own agenda, okay? They was dying of chlamydia or whatever the fuck, syphilis, I don't know what it was, and he was trying to get himself a new body. It's a very small part of the story. I honestly, I guess you had to have it in there, because why did he finance this whole thing? No strings attached. He obviously was gonna want something in the end. I don't really care about that part of the story. Christoph Waltz, he did a great job. Don't really care about his character, okay? And he died in a stupid way. And yeah, I don't know how he thought that was gonna work out with his syphilis-ridden body or whatever the hell. Anyways, somebody nurtured Victor and financially supported him so he could make the creation that he was born to make. Okay? This was his whole fucking life. All of his life's work was going to go into this creature, okay? And then that creature, he birthed it, okay? It worked. His madness produced this creature, okay? What he didn't realize was that the creature was not going to have intelligence once it was born, okay? The only thing that he had was a hot bod. And he had ample arms and legs to choose from, and you know what? Another side note, we did not get to see the Johnson that he chose for this creature either. And I think that's kind of fucked up, Guillermo. What dick did he choose? He's pulling all these bodies off of these fucking, war zones, and he's choosing arms and legs that are really long. He wanted this guy to be super tall. He chose long arms and long legs. What kind of dick did he choose? And why didn't we get to see? Kind of suspicious to me. But you know what? That is the tip of the iceberg that he let. We can just imagine he chose the longest dick he could find. Okay? See what that does? I get to interpret the kind of dick that Frankenstein ended up having. Okay? And that's the joys of watching a movie and being able to interpret stories the way you want. Okay? So in my interpretation, he had a very long dick. We'll move on because it doesn't fucking matter. Victor created life. And once it was inconvenient for him, and also he was not going to be as strong as this thing, even though he chose all the right, he tried to make a very strong man, and he succeeded in that, but he wasn't smart, and he had to teach him, and that was inconvenient for Victor, okay? And the only thing that the creature could say was Victor, right? Because that was the only fucking word that you taught him in a nice way. See how he retained the information when you were kind about it? When you were, patient with him, and he was able to form the word Victor out of his throat that he doesn't even know where he fucking got his throat from? You know what I mean? This is not some crazy interpretation. I know everybody's seen this. You know what I mean? But when approached with patience and kindness, the creature was able to learn fairly quickly, right? But Victor was not raised that way, okay? He wasn't taught all of his knowledge by kindness and patience. No, he was beat with a little fucking wobbly stick, okay? So he went and took those principles, which didn't work, by the way, because you're lonely as fuck, Victor. I don't care how fine you are, and he's fine. And he's fine too. Oscar Isaac could get it. He could fucking get it, okay? I don't want these fucking bad men to be cast as very fine men anymore. Get some ugly men up there in there to be, the bad guy for once. You know what I'm saying? Stop making me fucking drool over the bad guy. But anyway, Oscar Isaac could get it. He was a bad guy. See, there's another fucking tangent that I went on for no fucking reason, by the way, and I forgot where I was at. Oh, Oscar Isaac or Victor Frankenstein is lonely. Okay? And he's low-key trying to steal his brother's girl. Why? Because she's intelligent. Not only is she intelligent, she's kind, she's soft, she's nurturing. She's everything that women naturally are. Kind, soft, nurturing, and intelligent. That is just baseline woman right there. Okay? Now, she saw right through him. She said, low-key, I want to hang out because you have cool ideas and I like what you're doing here because I'm a sciencey type bitch too. But when he told her there's a connection between us, like, I think you and I are in love, she said, whoa, whoa. Actually, no. Actually, no, I never gave you any indication that I was romantically interested in you, actually. I just wanted to see your workshop, see what you're creating, because I'm interested in that kind of stuff. We're not fucking, by the way. Ew, no, we are not. In fact, I am engaged to your brother. Okay. And your brother seems to be stable and he's got a lot of money. Okay. Because of the old Papa's estate. Okay. So I'm happy where I'm at, but let me know where your little project goes because I want to come to the science fair. I want to see it. Okay. I like to study. I like to do cool shit too. You know what I'm saying? You're my brother now. You're my brother-in-law. I'm down to get along, but you're kind of an asshole. And I can see that from a mile away. So no, we're actually not in love. We're not connected. Okay? So I'm going to bounce now, actually. I'm going to bounce. I kind of thought, but no. It's a no for me. It's a no for me. And see that? Even them having so much in common, she still was like, "You are insufferable, and I don't wanna spend time with you. I just wanna see what you're doing. This is fun." Okay? So that there wasn't even any romance there, because he is not a good man, okay? He was raised by a bad man, and now he is a bad man. And after he creates life, he tries to raise that creature with a bad man mentality. And what happens? He gets his fucking ass handed to him. You know? Elizabeth walks in, and this motherfucker is soft as hell with her because she's soft with him. And in the context, the overarching context of today's society and the male loneliness or whatever, these young boys, whether they are or aren't being raised by bad men, okay, which most of them are, sadly, it's not their fault. It's probably not these bad men's fault either. Their father did it to them. I just feel like we should be in a decade and where we recognize that. We should recognize that those tools do not work. You cannot beat submission into men. Or not submission, but like you can't beat it into them. It doesn't fucking work. It doesn't work. It creates insufferable men that women do not want to be around. And then we get blamed because we don't want to hook up with these fucking weird ass dudes. That's crazy. But you guys started it, dude. The male loneliness epidemic is self-inflicted. And I'll tell you why that's self-inflicted too. Because these men, uh, boys growing into men, they are buying courses and listening to podcasts who are hosted by who? The Victor Frankensteins of the world. Yeah, that's who they're learning from. That's who they're paying. They're buying courses from the Victor Frankensteins. What the hell, dude? It is a vicious cycle. They need to buy a course from the creature. He was not abused for that long by Victor Frankenstein, so he was able to escape the clutches of Victor, and guess what? He found a good man in the woods. That little old man in the hut. And they bonded, and he taught him how to read, and he hung out with little rats, and he fed deer and shit. He became a decent creature because he was met with kindness and patience and nurturing by a man who was good, right? So that's proof right there. If you're a man and you're ticked at me right now, that is proof right there that there are good men out there. There are good old men out there, wise old men who can give you good advice and raise you well and tell you, like, how to treat women, how to treat animals, how to fucking be good to your neighbors in your community, and how to support your family and even get to the point where you can have a family. You need to get a woman to get a family. You're never going to get a woman if you think you can beat her into submission the way your father did to you. You know what I'm saying? The only way to stop a bad man is with a good man. Right? That's like the gun saying. The only way to stop a bad man with a gun is a good man with a gun. I don't believe that. But you need to there needs to be the good men of the world, okay? That old blind man in the fucking hut in the middle of the woods or whatever. They need to expose themselves. They need to stand up. Show your face. Show your face. The real Slim Shady, please stand up. We need you. We need you to be louder than the Victor Frankensteins of the world because these boys are buying courses from Victor Frankenstein and then wondering why women do not want to associate with them. Eee! You kinda learned all the wrong things. You were listening to the wrong man. And that man listened to the wrong man, and the man before him listened to the wrong man, and the man before him, and the man before him. So, heck, that's the whole fucking story right there. And that is why when he says the line, "What you deprive me of in love, I will indulge in rage." Okay? When men are deprived of kindness and loyalty and love and patience when they're young and vulnerable and curious, they will then indulge in rage as they get older and as they aren't able to make connections that will make them last, like their lives fulfilling. They want to live fulfilling lives, right? Everybody does. And men need partners. Women do not need partners. Women want partners, but they do not need them. Men need partners. That's statistics, that's science, that is proven fact. You know what I'm saying? That's not me just fucking shooting the shit. That is proven. Women do not need men, but men do need women. And that is okay, by the way. I'm not shaming you for needing a partner, okay? I am shaming you for demanding a partner, submit to you or whatever the fuck these traditional fucking family values people try to, instill in our young men in today's society. If you instill that, you are producing a Victor Frankenstein, okay? And you know what? The whole storyline that Guillermo del Toro loves to tell is that women love a monster. Low key. Low key, when you're technically a monster, but you're also soft with me, and you can come home and to me, and you have a soft place to land with me, but like you have to be a monster in the world, or not today's monster is like pretty bad, you know what I mean? Today's monster is a hedge fund guy wearing a suit that's too fucking tight, and he's pouring toxic chemicals in people's water supply and stuff. That's the kind of monster that we got these days. You know what I'm saying? It's the monster with the high and tight haircut and the fucking tight ass suit that was tailored too tight for his body. Those are the kind of monsters we're dealing with now. But in the world, in the Guillermo del Toro universe, the monsters are soft and they need a soft place to land to learn their own strength. And just like the other monsters that he's written, visually, the monsters are tall and fine usually. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the creature in Frankenstein, he was put together, he was curated, you know? And Victor is, a little bit gay for curating him so well, in my opinion. Well, I don't know. If Victor's gay, that's fine. Actually, I ain't got nothing against my gays, but I love a gay. But the monster himself, he's tall and he's buff and he's nice, but he's got the strength, right? He doesn't even know his own strength. But at home, he needs someone like Elizabeth to nurture him and teach him about the world. I mean, his natural um way of being is just like a baby, right? They're vulnerable and they're curious, and they need someone to teach them the ways of life. And that is something Victor Frankenstein, not only did he not want to do it, he could not do it. He does not know the ways of life. He was abused by his father. And that's low key not an excuse, but it is a reason. It is a reason. And so by chaining him up and smacking him around so that he'll learn a different word than Victor, you should have seen for a mile fucking away that you need to coax him in to learning lessons. This whole beating him up shit and chaining him up shit, it was never gonna work, okay? And as a woman, I could see that from the beginning. I think anybody with a fucking heart can see that you can't beat something into submission and it will love you. You know what I mean? Does this all make sense to you guys? Because I'm just saying, and I'm not saying I'm the first person who said this, but I'm just saying I haven't seen anybody touch on this yet about Frankenstein. It's the male loneliness epidemic personified in this film. And Victor Frankenstein is the issue, and he is also the issue in this day and age as well. And sadly, he is selling courses to your young boys, and they are buying them and trying to implement those advices in their life. And it's dangerous. And nobody's getting laid anymore because they be buying too many courses from Victor Frankenstein's. You know what I'm saying? So those are my fucking thoughts on the movie. Those are my thoughts on the movie, you know. And you know what? Like I said, when the creature started learning about stuff, it was because the person teaching him was not a fucking dick to him. Okay? He learned a brand new word when he met Elizabeth because she was fucking nice. And he said, Elizabeth. He could say her name. Okay? And then he learned how to read full ass books and novels and shit when he met that old man, that nice old man in the damn woods. I think those are all pretty obvious themes of the film. And I think the most intense theme is men having the power to create and then abandoning their responsibilities. You know, that's probably what's gonna happen with AI, dude. All of these men getting all the money in the world so they can create AI systems, and then it's gonna get too powerful and they're gonna abandon it. They're gonna get spooked and they're gonna abandon it and it's gonna fucking take over. Okay, I've seen one or two movies about fucking AI before. You kidding me? The people have written about it for fucking dozens of years. AI technology, and we're still doing the same exact route. Not thinking that we're not gonna end up in the exact scenario that has been written in all these movies for all these years. I mean, come on. Come on, guys. Just think about it for one fucking second. And if you're making a film right now, I did hear a thing recently about how movie execs, there's a term for it, and I do not remember what it is. Movie execs are actively writing movies that are easier to digest with the audience because they have to assume that you will be on your phone for most of the movie. So they need to make the story so simple that you could understand it even while you're scrolling on fucking TikTok in the movie theater. You know what I'm saying? And that's fucking sad. And that is the death of filmmaking right there. We can't allow that to happen. I don't wanna watch another fucking movie where the fucking main character tells me the exact plot. You know how, like, it's funny when someone says the name of the movie in the movie, and you're like, "Oh my god, they said it." Because, like, this is called blank, and there's a line in the movie where they casually mention that word that the movie is called, and that's always like a, "Oh my god, they said it" type shit. But I don't want you to say exactly what the fucking movie is about in the dialogue. Don't do that. If you're a filmmaker and you're listening to me right now, please give me some space to interpret the story for God's sake, dude. Don't treat me like I'm dumb. I don't want to be treated like I'm on my phone. I don't. I like storytelling. I like to get invested and I like to I like to have my own fucking analysis. And even if say that Guillermo del Toro was sitting next to me right now and he was saying Everything you just said is totally untrue. I never intended for the movie to be about the male loneliness epidemic. And, you are completely wrong. That wouldn't affect me at all. It all makes sense to me in my head. That's how, oop, that is how I interpreted it. And honestly, it all fucking fits. You gave me three main characters, and they all play an essential role in describing how men grow up without love and tenderness as young men. I'm talking about young men. And then they grow up to be old men who don't know how to be human, low key. Low key, they don't have emotional intelligence. They do not know how to, process their feelings or talk about their feelings. And the men around them are perpetuating those things. If you're a man right now and you're like, I can't talk to my boys about stuff, and that is a failure of their fathers and of your father. And I'm sorry. I don't want to talk shit on your dad because I love my dad. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk shit on anybody's dad. But you were fucked up by your dad. And that is the reality of a lot of this. And this episode is not about mothers. Mothers do their own damage in their own ways. Okay? And I'm not absolving them of fucking people up. You know what I mean? We watched the Ed Gein story. His mama done fucked him up. But she was in a religious psychosis. And that's a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? She did not deserve two sons. She really didn't. And she was not loving or nurturing either. So she didn't have the natural, loving, nurturing, intelligent, foundation of what I see women as. You know what I mean? She wasn't your average woman. She was a low-key evil woman. And that be happening sometimes. And I'm not absolving women of, the damages that they do to society. Okay? This episode was specifically about the damages that fathers be doing to their sons, and then those sons grow up to then teach the world. And now we have the internet and people is selling courses, and your sons are buying courses for your sons are buying courses from some of the worst men to ever exist, and they're taking that advice and they're using it in their life, and that is why they are lonely, and that is on period. That is on period. You cannot argue that. You can't argue that. I mean, you can. You can't argue that. Do I care? No, I don't, because this is my own personal opinion, okay? And I'd like to talk to Guillermo about it. You know what I mean? Guillermo gives me the vibe that he did have nurturing people in his life. He did have love as a young man. He gives that vibe. He does not give toxic man. To me, personally, I don't know the guy. But based on the stories that he writes, he wants to, I don't know. I feel like he shows the plight of young men in his storytelling. And we all need to open our eyes and see that. We all need to, I don't want to say give these guys some grace, because low key it's hard to be giving you guys some grace sometimes, but that is the reality of the situation, okay? These men don't have good role models. And if you're a man who does not resonate with the Victor Frankensteins of this world, stand the fuck up and give your boys a hug. Give your sons hugs. Give your friends hugs. Talk to your male friends. Uplift each other in emotional ways. Shut up, bro. Because we are not going to fix society and fix this loneliness epidemic that is self-inflicted unless y'all stand up. It's low-key your responsibility at this point. We've done what we can. Okay? We're getting murdered every day because of the Victor Frankensteins of this world and the people who buy his course. You know what I'm saying? So y'all need to really stand up and hug your fucking bros. Give them a damn hug and tell them that you love them. And go have brunch. That's what we do. That's what women do. And it works. No one's got you like your girls. And you guys should have the same thing. You should be got by your boys. And those are my final thoughts, because it has been 1 hour since I started recording. So I hope that this resonated. I hope that, men aren't offended by this. Um, you should know that I love you. I love a man. I really do. Um, and I want you to succeed in this world. And being human is about experiencing every emotion. That's really what it's about. Some emotions are bad, some are good, some are amazing, some are dreadful, some, you know what I mean? That is the human experience. And you shouldn't have to go through the entire human experience only experiencing the bad things. Okay? We love men's mental health around here at the Insufferable podcast. So that'll be it for me today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in yet again to another episode of Insufferable with me, your host, Lindsay Howe. And I will see you next week. Okay, bye.